Good afternoon. We're going to do a video on 55 and older mobile homes in Pasco County, Florida. We're going to look at manufactured homes and mobile homes. We're no parks, no park rent, only the ones where you own the land. Realtors are only allowed to sell these anyway. You got to be an auto broker to sell the ones in parks. We call that wheel estate. Anyway, the structures will still include condo associations, co-ops, homeowner associations, and then where I've got no HOA as an option for 55 and older. Land owning manufactured home communities, fee simple manufactured home lots, 55 plus manufactured home subdivisions. Avoid terms like land lease and rental community or park. Understand the difference. Mobile homes generally refer to units built before June 15th, 1976. Manufactured homes are after. There's a lot of variables when you are when you make an offer and you have an acceptance. You will then make sure that there's no deal breakers amongst all of the issues and covenants and restrictions. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about shopping and the fact that some of these listings can be wrong. A realtor gets a listing in one of these neighborhoods. They don't necessarily know the neighborhood. They go online, they look at the other listings in the neighborhood, and then they'll copy and paste that information. Often incorrect information becomes part of all of the listings if everyone's copying off of wrong information. Buyer to verify, a lazy person's failure to act in a professional manner to the detriment of the seller. Basically, if you have a pet, you need to know what the pet restrictions are. You're not going to call every listing to see what the pet restrictions are, and the selling agent should put that on the listing. But the problem areas that may not be correct on the listings are pet restrictions, lease restrictions. You're going to see the monthly fees. We're going to go through some of these neighborhoods. You're going to see how the fees are different from property to property. And then you have to call the association and find out what's going on. And no saying that they answer the phone in a timely manner, or even if the person answering the phone knows the answer. Now, what you can do on some of these is you can go onto their websites. Actually, you probably can't without a password. So once you get into the game and you think you know what you want and you know what community you want to be in, and we're narrowing it down, I will do the research. I will get you the guaranteed for sure answers. So now let's just go shopping. Right now let me get out of this screen. In Holiday, Florida, to start with, as I showed you, there were 4 communities that are offering properties. There are 30, if you watch my cursor down here, you can see the number change. There are 30 properties that are currently available. Now, I'm going to recommend, and I think you're going to agree, that we don't do flood zones. So let's take the flood zone properties out. There's 18 properties for sale in Holiday, Florida right now that are in these subdivisions. 69,000, 72,000. These are the asking prices, 78, 80. And you can see they're in a variety of subdivisions. We're going to go deep into these subdivisions in just a moment. But first, we're going to do what we always do when we're analyzing the market. We're going to look at the pendings. Right now, there are 4 properties that are currently under contract: 125, 139, 142, 149. The interesting thing is that this was 89 days on the market. This was 92 days on the market, 28 days on the market, 51 days on the market. We have to look at the strength of the market, and I can't help myself but to spend time looking at the pendings and the solds. There's 22 properties that have sold in the last 180 days. Now, we had a terrible, terrible market between Helene and Milton, and the cold weather ending, and we had just some horrible numbers. Apparently, it's a little bit stronger. In the last 90 days, we've had 14. Let's go ahead and look at these properties. All right, Tiki Drive. They were asking $79,000. It sold for $70,000 in 189 days. This is a single wide. 79.9 sold for $75,000 in 110 days. 87,000 sold for $80,000 in 286 days. Is that 9 months? 94,000 sold for $87,000. These are all single wides. When we get into the higher price ones, you'll see they're double wides. This is a 105. It sold for 95. Took 310 days. Another single wide, 99,000, sold for 97,000 in 95 days. 52 days, sold at 6,000 below, and I think we're still in single wides. Now, this has an addition on it here. 125 grand, sold for 115 grand. Sold price per square foot is $119 a square foot. That's when you're comparing, you want to compare apples to apples. So we want to narrow it down to the price per square foot. We're at a single wide in Tanglewood, 119,000, sold for more than the asking price in 6 days. What we're going to find is the hot deals, the good deals, sell in a week or 10 days. 135 sold for 127 in 31 days. 134 sold for 129 in 32 days. Here's a 2005 built home, asking 165. It sold for 140. 165 days. 159,000 sold for 150,000. This is a very big unit. 1,352 sold for $110 a square foot, and this is the last one in Lake Connolly. They were asking 189. They sold it for 175 in 123 days. So now let's go ahead and look at what, if you were shopping today, what would you be looking at? What are the considerations? What are the options? Now there's 18 properties that are not in a flood zone that are in this type of community. And for sake of apples to apples, we're going to look at them by neighborhood. So the first one is in Buena Vista Manor, asking $72,000. It shows that the association fees are $200 a year. And you're going to see how the numbers are going to be different. Here's $80,000. Been on the market for 2 days. It says the fees are $630 a year for $52 a month. I think that's wrong. 99,000 showing annual fees of $200, and this works out to $126 a square foot. So obviously Buena Vista Manor has some cheap stuff in it. This is $125,000, been on the market for 120 days, and they're showing $192 for the annual fee. So we've had 4 properties, and here's a 5th property, $200. So we have some people that agree $200 is likely the number, which is what I think it is. But this is $185,000 for a 1990 with 1,620 square feet. This actually is very nice. $185,000 though. Now this is in a neighborhood called Buena Vista that is not gated, and it's just open roads. These roads are all, the public can drive through these. There's no sequestrian people coming off of Darlington just walking right into the neighborhood. But it is a for $200 a year. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Buena Vista has septic tanks, but that's going to be another issue. That's why you want to have a buyer's agent in your corner. All right, so let's move on to Lake Connolly. Lake Connolly Mobile Home Park, $816 a year, works out to $68 a month. And notice this one says X and AE. So this is in 2 flood zones. So I would say, I'm not sure if we're interested in that. All right, this one's just in an X zone. It's $105,000. We're in Tanglewood. All of a sudden, $143 a month. And this is a nice neighborhood. It's still off the main road without a gate, but it's not the same. You have to come in one of these 2 entries to get into this neighborhood. And all of it is pretty much not sequestered, but it's all pretty much unavailable unless you come in these 2 main entrances. And that's for security. This is a better, I would be more comfortable in Tanglewood than I would in Buena Vista. Okay, let's moving on down. We have 69,000 in Tanglewood, a 211, 1.5, $143 a month. And this has only been on the market for 16 days, $69,000. Tanglewood says that it's $143 a month. We're beginning to get a consensus. This has been on the market for 116 days. Tanglewood, $128 a month. 119,000. Been on the market for 207 days. One strategy, and there are a lot of strategies, is to take all the ones with big days on market and insult them with a low offer. $149,000, $143 a month. So this one is consistent with some of the other ones that suggest a $1,716 annual fee. Okay, this is Tiki Village Mobile Home Park Condominium. Now, these are this $520 a month is a year is correct. It's $43.33 a month, but they want you to pay the $520. They don't want the monthly. They won't even take it. I think they will take 6 months, but maybe they won't. They want you to pay it one time, the $520 a year. This is $75,000. It's been on the market for 101 days. Let's look at the map. Now this one is gated, and this is it right here. There's only one way in right here on Tiki Drive, and that has a gate that you buzz people through right here. You have a fob to get into the community, and this one is not in a flood zone. It's actually quite high relative to the neighborhood around it. Tahitian and Aloha Gardens are right next door, and they're 5 or 7 feet lower than this neighborhood, and they're not flood zones either. So anyway, 75,000. It's been on the market for 101 days. Tiki Village, 110,000, single wide, 744 square feet. 120,000, 672 square feet. 888 square feet for 129,000. Been on the market for 85 days. Okay, 173 days on the market. This is 1,100 square feet, but it's $139,000. Here we have a true double wide, 960 square feet, 1973 built house. And they're showing, everyone's showing $520 a year. This one is $420. So this one just didn't get updated. It's been on the market for 241 days. And I'm sure the seller did not tell the buyer, the realtor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over and I'm going to show you how to analyze, or I'm going to analyze Tiki. T-I-K-I. Oh, there are 7 properties that are active. There's one property that's pending, and the solds for the last 6 months are 3. So let's go ahead and look at it. This one sold for $70,000 in 189 days. It worked out to $97 a square foot. This was $119 a square foot, 286 days. Boy, this neighborhood is really, really 310 days, $131 a square foot. This is definitely if you're a buyer, let me tell you, these are not getting action. And it may very well be a time you could get a screaming deal. All right, this is 1985, $149,000. This one actually is quite nice. No, but it's original. Okay, this isn't the one I was thinking of. Anyway, Randal Jenkins here. I didn't mean to become an expert in in mobile homes, but evidently I did. This is my contact information. I put out a lot of content, and if you want to watch my wholesaling and investing video or my multifamily video or best practices, you can jump into my Facebook page, which is where you're watching this now. I did this pool home video this morning. I've been out of town, so I've been a little bit slow in putting out content. Here was a 4-bedroom analysis. Vacant land, if you have an interest in vacant land. Multifamilies, I've got to update this multifamily video. I've got a lot of buyers for multifamily. Anyway, Randal Jenkins, it's easy to remember my number. It's 727-409-HOME. 409 like the spray cleaner. Think 409 HOME. That's my phone number. Also, I have 409home.com as a website. And appreciate you watching my videos. Wish you the best. Bye now.